What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome on into the Broncos Breakdown. A bit of a unique show today. I've got a flight to catch to New York City, going there for my anniversary, and I'm already running late, so I'm just going to kind of spitball a little bit with you guys here and run through all the notes I have, so no graphic show or anything like that, so apologize for that. But let's start by talking about the first, I guess, true real day of training camp as fans were admitted, and it was a bit of a longer practice. The line was down the block, and that was awesome to see. Like, Broncos country, if you're ranking NFL fan bases, and I think what's important to factor into those rankings is what's the fan base like when the team's not winning? This is a fan base that has not seen a winning season since 2016, and they are still filling up training camp, and the line is down the street. It's awesome to see, so credit to you. If you're watching and you went to training camp today, let me know in the comment section below. That's awesome. So that's the first thing I wanted to get across. Then we'll switch to the running backs. And then we'll get to the quarterbacks next. Don't worry. Javonte Williams, though, he showed up to training camp looking noticeably thinner, which that's great. We also saw another Broncos player last offseason show up noticeably thinner, if you remember, and that still did not really have a great turnaround or change on the outlook for the season. So it's very nice to see Williams get down to maybe a better weight for him. I'm excited. I'm still a Javonte Williams believer. I was happy to see a lot of people get proven wrong when they talked about Williams being cut and Jaleel McLaughlin taking his roster spot altogether. Like, no, the reality is I think we're going to see a Sean Payton, New Orleans Saints type running back split where Javonte Williams gets 50% of the carries, Jaleel McLaughlin gets the next 35% of carries, and Perine and Estime kind of split the remaining carries and snaps all together, with Perine probably only being in on pass protection and maybe some long third downs where they can dump it off to him, because that was like a third of the offense, it felt like, last year at times. And then I think we'll see Estime and maybe some goal line situations because he looks like a tough SOB to tackle. But speaking of Estime, the fifth round draft pick out of, or fourth, I don't remember, out of Notre Dame, he's looked good so far. Like, that's one where I'd love to go hand up. I was a little bit skeptical of the pick when it was made just because he didn't have a great performance at the Combine, which football is played with pads on. It's not played in your underwear at Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Field. So that's definitely something where people tend to overreact to, and I was probably a little bit guilty of that. But so far, he's looked really sharp. He's looked really fast, strong. That's been awesome to see. Hopefully, he can be the next workhorse back for this Denver Broncos team for years to come. So that's kind of the running back roundup so far. Altogether, the unit has looked really strong. Highlight reel, Jaleel's looking fast. Williams is at a great weight. And then you've got Estime, like I mentioned, who's looking like a great enforcer, like a fourth liner of a running back. Quarterbacks. Let's talk quarterbacks. The rotation continues. So day one, we saw Jarrett Stidham with the first team offense. Day two, Bo Nix. Day three, which is today, Zach Wilson. I know everyone wants to hear Bo Nix is looking the best. I am sorry to share that the consensus is, and it's not just me trying to drive a narrative, Jarrett Stidham has looked the best of the three. Now, the best has been still a little bit underwhelming. I think Jarrett Stidham has done the best at not putting the football in harm's way, which Wilson has probably been the most guilty of, and then Nix hasn't been too guilty of it, but Stidham has just been better overall at not putting the football in a bad spot to be intercepted or anything like that. So if you're looking for a ranking, I think it's the same ranking that wrapped up the spring. Stidham, Nix, Wilson. Now, we're all rooting for, except for Jarrett Stidham and his family, Bo Nix to emerge as the best quarterback, right? That's what's best for this fan base. That's what's best for this team long term, is that they can hit on Bo Nix, because we have a pretty good idea as to what Jarrett Stidham is as a quarterback. I mean, only 4 starts in his NFL career, so not a huge sample size, but nothing that's been so encouraging and something you can really put a lot of confidence in. So obviously, like every fan base, when you draft a rookie quarterback, you want that rookie to look as good as possible, as quickly as possible. And Bo Nix has looked good so far. I don't want the takeaway from this video to be Bo Nix has been stinking it up in camp. No, Bo Nix has looked like a rookie so far in camp. There's good practices. There's some not so good practices. There's good throws and not some good throws. Like, it's a big adjustment going from the NFL, from college football to the NFL. So all in all, Bo Nix is probably second so far in the rankings in the race. but it's a long summer. We got 5 more weeks until Seahawks week 1 in Seattle, 6 more weeks really. So we've got a lot of football to be played then, 3 preseason games, but early report cards are Stidham, Nix, Wilson. Switching gears, we're going to talk about Luke Wattenberg next up on the show, but I do want to tell everyone watching about our great friends over at Game Time. If you want to get tickets to a Rockies game, a Broncos preseason game, make sure you get started with Game Time today because they've got the best deal for Broncos country. Now, Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. Now, one thing I really like about Game Time are their flash deals. Save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. Plus, they offer the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. So another training camp battle that's not as sexy as the quarterback one, but close to it in proximity would be the center battle, where you've got veteran Sam Mustipher going up against 2023 fifth-round draft pick Luke Wattenberg, and then 2022 fifth-round draft pick, and then 2023 seventh-round draft pick Alex Forsyth out of Oregon. So those are the 3 centers battling for the starting gig to replace Lloyd Cushenberry. Mustipher, Wattenberg, and Forsyth. Now, the quarterbacks have all rotated who's gone with the first-team offense all 3 days. However, the center position has been the same for all 3 days, and that has been Luke Wattenberg, the 2022 fifth-round draft pick. So if you're looking for an early leader in the clubhouse, it appears it is Wattenberg. So he's got some experience, like Forsyth has 0 career snaps in the NFL, but Luke Wattenberg we've seen on special teams. We've seen him play in preseason games for 2 years, 6 preseason games if he played in every single one. So there's a decent amount of film and some evidence on him, but not a ton. It's not like he ever started for Lloyd Cushenberry. I don't remember him ever starting for Cushenberry. I will say, just going off of memory, when we did see him play in the preseason, he didn't look like the part of that's going to be the next great Broncos center, but hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully he has grown and improved over the offseason, which players can do. But that appears to be the early leader in the clubhouse, Luke Wattenberg at center. Now, we're going to talk about some other notes in just a second here. But first, shout out your city for me in the comment section below. Shout out to producer Reed for getting this on screen for me. Let me know where you're tuning in from. It's always great to see Broncos country being just that, a country. So whether you're in Colorado, in Denver, or somewhere else in the country or the world, shout out your city for me down below. Switching gears, Bo Nix, just kind of want to put one last little note on him. He had some really good moments, like today on Friday, if you're watching this. He had a great downfield connection with Courtland Sutton, so there's been a lot of really good passes and throws coming out of Nix, and I think he's just going to improve and get better and better, but I think this competition is going to be ongoing for a little bit longer than maybe people anticipated. DJ Jones, the defensive tackle, he looks sharp. I mean, it's tough for a defensive tackle to impress in training camp because you can't tackle when the pads are off, but he's been bursting through the line of scrimmage, and usually the big, heavy fellas, they don't fare so well at the start of training camp. They may not be in tip-top shape after a 6-week summer break. The hot summer heat, like those 300-pound guys, it's tough for them to keep that energy up, but he's looked good so far, so that's really encouraging. Caden Stearns got brought up during Sean Payton's presser on Thursday. Quote, has a long road in front of him. Not great to hear. Caden Stearns, if you remember, he suffered a torn patella tendon week 1 last year against the Raiders, snap number 2. So nearly 12 months removed from that injury, and the hope is 12 months later you should be ready to roll. And it doesn't look like Stearns is really anywhere near that point. So I'm going to continue to cross my fingers for him. He's one of my favorite players because, I mean, we haven't seen too much of him. He's been injured a lot the last 2 years, but man, that smallish sample size, when he would fill in for like Justin Simmons in his rookie season, the guy was a playmaker. It really felt like, hey, the future of the safety room is Justin Simmons and Caden Stearns as they start to phase out Kareem Jackson. But it doesn't look like his road to recovery is going to end anytime soon. So hopefully they'll be able to get him back at some point. And then the final thing I want to note here, another piece of injury news, Nick Bonito was working on the side field. The side field is code for injured, but not super duper injured, where you're still inside working with the trainers and you're on crutches. So working out on the side field, not sure what the injury is for Bonito, but it sidelined him for 2 straight days. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but just something to monitor and put on your radar. All right, I think that's pretty much everything I have to go through here. Overall, Thomas Nkoum, he's looked pretty good. Remember, he made the 53-man roster last year as a UDFA. It was awesome to see the fans there, but I've got to run. I literally do have a flight to catch, and I'll be killed if I missed it. So we'll see everyone later. Enjoy your weekend, and make sure to like today's video if you haven't already.